Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to Locs Lux Lifestyle. Welcome back to another video. So if you enjoy loc content, lifestyle content, and self-help and self-development content, then make sure to hit that subscribe button because I do a little bit of all of that. But welcome back to another video. So today I am here with a transparency talk, and it's been a minute since I did one of these, but I definitely want to get one of these out before we end this year. So if you're interested in hearing what I have to talk about, then keep watching.
The sun shines on all of my glory. My flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
So like I said, I think my last transparency talk video was back in like August. So I haven't done one in a while. And mainly like, I don't like to force these type of videos. For the most part, life has been good, and yeah, I've just been really enjoying the space that I'm in right now. So for this transparency talk video, I'm kind of just gonna do like a 2022 recap, talk about some of the lessons I've learned, what I've experienced this year. And because we are in this season of like goal setting and preparing ourselves for a new year, also just want to give some of my personal advice and tips that I would recommend, things that I want to take with me as we go into this new year. So if you're unfamiliar with these transparency talk videos, I will have my playlist linked down in the description box for you to check out. But basically, if you have been keeping up with some of these videos, then you would know that like 2020 and 2021 weren't the best years for me. And I don't want to completely rehash everything because again, you can go check out some of those videos. You know, with the pandemic and everything, I felt like it was for me, it was a very traumatic time. A lot of life changes happened during that time period, and I know a lot of you can relate. So again, I don't want to rehash everything that happened then, but I thought it was necessary to mention because for those crazy 2 years, you know, I dealt with a lot of death close to me, sickness close to me. Like I said, it was the pandemic. I entered into my 30s, a lot of physical changes, mental changes, spiritual changes. I felt like it was just a lot going on, and constantly in those videos I would say that I just didn't feel like myself. I literally felt like I was having like an out-of-body experience for 2 years, and the reason that's relevant is because this year was the first year that I felt like quote-unquote normal again. And you really never know like how out of it you are until you finally do come to yourself. And so being able to just kind of breathe and just feel like myself again was like the most rewarding thing that could happen this year. And one of the things that I kept saying like last year is that I felt like I was going through like a transition, right? I was shedding a person that I used to be and evolving into someone new. And so because of that, this year I really had to spend time getting to know myself again. And I realized that this is something that we need to do constantly. We're always changing, we're always evolving, at least we should be. And so every time you evolve, you have to get to know the new version of yourself. So this year I spent a lot of time understanding my likes, dislikes, things that I no longer wanted to participate in, finding new hobbies, new interests, exercising my right to say no, standing on my decisions when I want to say yes. And you know, you have to think about it like any other relationship that you have with somebody new that you meet. You know, it takes time to get to know this person. So I had to learn how to extend grace to myself. I had to learn how to be patient with myself, because although I felt really good this year, after coming out of a 2-year traumatic period, you know, I still had the tendency to be triggered by certain things or get stressed out easily by certain things. So, you know, again, I had to learn how to be patient with myself and really love myself through this process. Being able to like articulate the things that I like about myself, being able to just articulate who I am, period. Like that has been my process of getting to know the current version of myself this year. Another thing that I've kind of talked about a lot this year, I know I talked about it in my last transparency talk video, but one thing that I also learned this year was how to embrace spontaneity. I always talk about being very practical and being very scheduled and routine. And so this was the first year that I've kind of just been like, go with the flow, whatever happens, happens. Whatever opportunity I see, I'm gonna take it. Like I've never been this like fluid and just flowing the way that I have this year, and it was just so rewarding. It just made, I feel like, the year so much fun. I feel like that's what I had been missing, honestly, in my life, was just like genuine fun. I got back to traveling this year, took a few trips this year, and majority of the trips that I took, they weren't like super last minute, but they also weren't trips that were like planned out months in advance. Even outside of like trips and vacation, like when I think about some of the most enjoyable days that I've had this year, they were things that just kind of like popped up and happened just kind of on the fly. And yeah, it just made the year fun. And I didn't realize that I was not having fun. I was not living a life of enjoyment, and I needed that this year. And it made me realize the importance of just getting out and touching the grass. I don't think enough of us do that, especially now with the climate that we're in and the experience that we have had these last few years. Many of us don't get out and touch the grass very often, especially when you factor in things like social media and the news and just all the chaos that's constantly happening in the world. It's easy to get very consumed and immersed by like just different thoughts and opinions and ideas, and it can be suffocating. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself in just like a downward spiral from just everything that you're consuming. And when you finally go outside, or you finally just like put your phone down for a little bit, turn off the TV for a little bit, you just start to remember like, oh yeah, this is what life is about. This is a part of living, like not being consumed with just a bunch of stuff that's out of our control, honestly. And not to sound super like pessimistic or defeated, but the reality is like, you only can do what you can do. If you know you put like the best effort in to make this world as best as it can be, then you know you can't get too caught up in the things that you can't control. And so yeah, I had to learn how to get out and touch the grass again and just have fun. Also this year, I really like learned like the value and the power in just being, right? Just simply being, whether that's being present, like being whatever it is in that moment that you need to be, not overextending yourself, not having such high expectations, and not necessarily lowering my expectations, but really just simply having no expectations. And when I say not having expectations, that's different than not having standards. Like I have standards, right? Like there's a standard of life that I require. There is a standard in how I present myself in this world. There's a standard in how I treat people. There's a standard in how I require people to treat me. So no, my standards don't change. They didn't change. My standards will always be my standards. But entering situations with having like little to no expectation, it really allows you to just be present in the moment, be present in whatever it is the experience is, without feeling the need to compare it to somebody else or compare it to your own expectations. I feel like you really just get to experience the moment for what it is. We live in an era of like shock value, right? Everything that people do these days is like, how can I shock the people? How can I shock the masses? You know, it's social currency. How can I go viral? How can I do this? And so a lot of the times when we're so used to being shocked and over amazed by everything, in a way, it kind of like desensitizes our emotions. You can experience something that you really enjoyed, but because you're comparing it to something that you've seen that, you know, kind of shocked your emotions or shocked what you felt like the experience should be, you don't value the experience for what it's supposed to be. It just really robs you from whatever it is you're meant to get in that moment because you're comparing it to something else. So me going into situations with little to no expectation, I felt like the experiences were far more rewarding because I wasn't comparing it to what such and such was doing, right? And all the time it wasn't like a great experience. Even if it is something that was overhyped, I can say, oh yeah, that was a little overhyped, but you know, it was a cool experience. It was something to do. And I feel like that's a benefit of just being. When you learn how to just be in any situation, in any environment, you no longer feel the need to like feel validated by people. You also don't feel the need to shrink yourself either. You can walk into a situation, be what you need to be in that moment, and just let that just be. So I feel like, you know, I really learned the importance of just being. Another quality of just learning to just be is that you get more in tune with what you need, right? You know, there's times when you obviously have to go a little hard and do a little more, and then there's going to be times where you need to kind of scale back. When you're learning how to be, I feel like you become more in tune with what you really need in every moment. For example, some of you, if you've been watching my vlogs, you may or may not know, but I recently, within this last quarter, transitioned into full-time content creating. And so prior to this, I was working like doing traditional jobs in the workforce for like the last 10 years. And my previous job that I just left, I was with them for 4 years. So this was the first time in a long time where I just really didn't have anything to do. And I almost allowed myself, and it's something I'm still learning how to balance, but when you get so used to just being on autopilot all the time, when you get a moment to rest and to just be, you really don't know what to do with it. And that's what I've been kind of learning a lot of within this last quarter of the year, because the first thing that I wanted to do, or I felt like I should have been doing, was like busying up my schedule, because I was so used to just being tethered to a job. Many of us are always tethered to our jobs, our roles, our responsibilities. And for years, you guys, years, I was praying to be in the position that I'm in now. And when I finally got it, I didn't know what to do. I just felt like I had to do more than what I actually had to do. And so that's one of the things that God has been working with me on in this season, is learning what you have to do, what you need to do, and what you don't have to do. And so that also comes with understanding just how to be. Again, many of us, we don't know how to just be, because we're so used to always having to do something. From a young age, many of us are socialized to feel like we have to be and do more than who we are at the core in what we're doing. So I've been learning, like, you know, these are the things that I'm good at. These are the things that I have been gifted in. I have full range and reign to do all of those things. But the things that I'm not good at, the things that are not my strong suit, I don't have to be more than what I was gifted to be. Sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves. You know, we're in a time where everybody want to be somebody. And not to say that everybody is not somebody, but you know, everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame. Everybody wants their viral moment. Everybody wants to be that pinned comment. Like, we live in an age where people present themselves to be like, again, you don't have to shrink yourself. So that's not what I'm saying, but you also don't have to be, a lot of people like to put on, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of people like to flex and put on. And so a lot of the times when we're always seen with these like images, you start to feel like you don't measure up, right? And I say all that to say, I just told you guys, like, I had an amazing year. 2022 don't owe me nothing, okay? I had an amazing year this year. However, like most people, I create goals at the beginning of the year, right? So I had a goal list. I had a vision board that I created at the beginning of the year. And so recently, like as we're ending this year, as I'm preparing my goals for next year, I took a look at my goal list. And as I'm going through my list, as I'm looking at my vision board, I almost allowed the enemy to make me feel bad in that moment. After I've been telling you guys how good of a year I've been having, after I've been living this good year, as I'm looking through my goal list, for a slight minute, I start to feel bad, because a lot of like the action items, you know, metric-based items, like materialistic items, I didn't meet all of those goals. And I started to feel bad, but I had to think, does me not meeting those goals take away the value and the joy that I felt this year? And this is why, like, I stress the importance of just being in this video, because we constantly attach our value, our happiness to goals, titles, accolades, societal norms and things of that nature. And so when we don't reach those things immediately, we feel like we failed. But if I had a good year, did I really fail? I may not have did everything that I wanted to do. I may not have accomplished everything that I wanted to do, but I can say without a doubt that I may not have accomplished everything that I wanted to do this year, but I absolutely had everything and experienced everything that I needed this year. And it just reminded me that we're gonna constantly be a work in progress, right? So again, I had a good year, but it doesn't end here. And just because I didn't accomplish the goals this year does not mean that they won't come to fruition. And as we're in this season of goal making, I also think it's important that we make sure to not only make materialistic goals, metric-based goals. Those things are great, but you also want to make sure, or at least something I've learned to do over these last few years, is when I create goals, like the vision board that I created this year, I put a list of just like affirmations on there. So I may not have met all like my metric-based goals, but when I look at those affirmations that I had on my vision board, absolutely all those have been manifesting this year. I feel like a lot of people make goals based on how they want their life to look, but I've learned to also incorporate goals of how I want my life to feel. Regardless of what scenario, what situation I'm in, how do I want my life to feel? And for me, I want to experience love, I want to experience joy, I want to experience peace, I want strategy to be able to navigate different scenarios. Like, those are the things that I think about. I want to enjoy being with me, I want to like me. Those are also important things to remember to incorporate into your goals as you go into this year. And if you're someone like me who didn't accomplish everything you wanted to do this year, that's okay. Like, yeah, a year is a long period of time. It's 365 days. You know, those are a lot of days, but in the grand scheme of things, 1 year, I'm 32. 1 year out of 32 years is a fraction of the other time. So yes, a year is long. I didn't get it accomplished with everything accomplished within this year, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen for me. I remember repeatedly saying last year, like, I'm just planting seeds. I'm just planting seeds. I'm just planting seeds. And a lot of times when you use the analogy of planting seeds, we expect to reap our harvest right away. However, after planting those seeds, you don't just reap your harvest. You have to water those seeds. You have to prune those seeds. You have to tend to your garden in order to reap your harvest. And so again, last year I was planting seeds, and I feel like now I'm in the process of watering them, and they may not have happened yet, but I still have time. And everything I want may not be happening now, but it doesn't mean that it's not gonna happen. And every time I feel defeated or I feel like things are not happening, that's when keeping inventory of your prayers, your answered prayers, the goals that you did accomplish, that's when those things come into handy. Because this time last year, this time at the beginning of the year, I didn't imagine this version of myself, and this version of myself that I'm living right now was something that I was praying for years ago. So it's not that things haven't happened, it's just that they haven't happened yet. And just learn to trust the timing of your life. It's something that I say a lot in these videos, but it's so true, because life will test you. It will test your patience, it will test your faith, and in those testing moments, that's when you really have to trust like the path of your life. And yeah, overall, I feel like this year I've just been really learning how to find contentment in every season. It's focusing on not trying to be so perfect all the time, not trying to be right all the time, because it's impossible. We're never going to be right all the time. We're never going to be perfect all the time. Understanding that not being perfect, not having my life together all the time, those things do not make me less worthy or invaluable. But that's gonna be it for this video, you guys. That's all I have. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Also, thank you guys so much for all your support this year. I've seen a lot of growth on my channel this year. Yes, I thank you. Just thank y'all so much. I feel like I don't say it enough. I know I don't always respond to all the comments that you guys leave, but I see all of your comments. I appreciate all of your comments, and I appreciate all the support. I hope everyone had a great holiday season, and yeah, wishing y'all love, peace, joy, prosperity, all of that good stuff in the new year. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Snatched by Sharmel, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.